Durham, and of course with Executive Director Kathleen Hutton and her entire team. Thank you for having us, Kathleen. I'm pleased to be joined by my friend, the Member of Provincial Parliament for Pickering-Uxbridge, and the Minister of Finance and President of the Treasury Board, the Honourable Peter Bethlen-Falvey. I'm also joined by my colleague and friend, the Member of Provincial Parliament for King Vaughan, and Ontario's Minister of Education, the Honourable Stephen Lecce. The Minister of Education has been working tirelessly throughout the pandemic to provide the resources necessary to create the best possible and safest learning environment for children in Durham Region and across the province. Without further ado, I'd like to invite the Minister of Education to the podium for another important announcement for students and parents in Durham Region.
Well, thank you very much. It is wonderful to be here in Durham with my colleagues. First off, I want to give a shout out to our amazing host, the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you so much, Kathleen, and to your entire team for your welcome and for your leadership in supporting kids. And of course, it is amazing to be with Ontario's Minister of Finance, President of the Treasury Board, Peter Bethlen-Falvey, as well as my hardworking colleague, Lindsay Park, both of whom have been delivering results for the people of Durham Region, and I know the work continues. I'll be brief, just in recognizing that this pandemic has imposed significant hardship on working parents in Ontario. Every step of the way, our government and Premier have allocated additional support directly into the pockets of moms and dads. That is because we understand that government needs to be there for families when they face hardship and adversity. Together, when you allocate the new monies set aside for families in this most recent budget announced by the Minister of Finance last week, we are allocating nearly $2 billion in direct financial support to help you, Ontario's parents, get through this pandemic and to help us defeat this pandemic once and for all. Now, in the most recent budget, the Minister of Finance announced $980 million more in supports, an initiative that we believe is going to materially help you get through this pandemic. Parents and guardians residing in Ontario had the opportunity in our last program called the Support for Learners Initiative to apply for a simple online application to access one-time supports for $200 per child and $250 per child for kids with special education needs. Recognizing that that was a successful program to help families in Ontario, the Minister of Finance, our Premier, our government has announced that we are doubling that support, now called the Ontario COVID-19 Child Benefit, providing $400 for every child up to grade 12 and $500 for every child up to age 21 with special education needs. This is going to help make a difference. Nearly $2 billion in supports. We know it will. And effective April 26, this new round of funding will be delivered automatically to all parents who've successfully applied for the last round of Support for Learners program, meaning if you have already applied for the Support for Learners program, which the vast majority of Ontario parents have, you will automatically receive monies in your account. We're trying to make this as easy as possible and seamless as possible for parents, as we know you're dealing with many stresses today. Parents who did not apply, for the minority of parents who may not have applied in the past, we're going to be opening up the new application effective May 3rd for roughly a 2-week period, and we'll be providing more details. We'll be launching the website for those individuals to apply in the coming weeks. But rest assured, every Ontario family and parent will receive the support. Also, in the context of childcare, we recognize the costs are rising. When we came to office, it was the second highest in Canada, unacceptable. And I'm just so grateful to the Minister of Finance for recognizing the critical importance of childcare as a prerequisite to getting this economy restarted and helping encourage labour market participation of moms and dads in Ontario. And so, in addition to the supports put in the government's budget to date, one that I want to highlight is the expansion of the CARE tax credit. That's the Child Care Access and Relief credit that's provided to parents, which is committing additional supports, a 20% top-up of enhancements to that credit to help as many parents as possible get access to affordable childcare. That means roughly $1,500 when you look at the aggregate of that relief for a family, an average family in Ontario. That's going to make a difference. In every way we can, we'll be there for you. This, of course, is in addition to our commitment to build more spaces, 30,000 more childcare spaces with $1 billion of investment from our government. So we are grateful to all of our partners. We are very grateful to the work that many of our nonprofits do in Ontario, including here at the Boys and Girls Club. We are excited to extend the 3-hour rule, which is a decision made by the government because we understand that organizations like this provide critical, low-cost, and high-quality care for our kids. So we're grateful to all families, and I'm looking forward to further announcing the details of this program so we can get this money into your pockets. And with that, I look forward to turning it over to the Minister of Finance, the President of the Treasury Board, my friend and colleague, Peter Bethenthulve. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Always great to have you here in Durham, and it wasn't that long ago we opened the first public school in Pickering in 20 years, so thank you for all that you've done for not just this community, our community here in Durham, but across the province, and very thankful for that. And of course, Lindsay, my colleague here in Durham, the MPP for Durham, and Kathleen, thank you. Last time I was here was pre-COVID with Lauren Coe, the MPP, and we played hockey with the kids downstairs, so a great experience, and I want everyone to know that I beat Lauren Coe. So thank you for hosting us here today. Very appreciative of that. Last Wednesday, I tabled the 2021 budget in Ontario in the legislature called Ontario's Action Plan, Protecting People's Health and Our Economy, is our government's second pandemic budget. It focuses on two priorities that we have heard clearly from people and businesses. First and foremost, people expect their government to protect people's health. And second, they expect us to protect their economy. So that's exactly what our budget did. Les gens s'entendent avant tout à ce que notre gouvernement protège la santé de la population. Ils s'entendent ensuite à ce que nous protégions notre économie. C'est exactement ce que fait notre budget. Protecting people's health has truly been a collective effort. The people and businesses of our province have overwhelmingly done what it takes to protect each other from COVID-19. Yet these protections have come at a cost to the families, workers, and employers of Ontario who have sacrificed so much. The people of Ontario have stepped up to do their part, so our government is stepping up to do ours. Every parent in Ontario has faced pressures due to COVID-19. For some, that includes financial challenges caused by the pandemic. For many, it includes new expenses to support virtual learning or childcare. And for all, it includes anxiety about their child's future in a world that will look very different than it does today. And now, while our government can't make the pressure go away, we can provide a helping hand. That's why Minster Lecce noted our budget includes the new Ontario COVID-19 Child Benefit. Through this program, parents will receive a total of $980 million through a third round of payments. C'est pourquoi, comme l'a mentionné le ministre Lecce, notre budget comporte la nouvelle prestation ontarienne pour les enfants en raison de la COVID-19. Dans le cadre de ce programme, une troisième série de paiements permettra aux parents de recevoir 980 millions de dollars. 980 millions de dollars. This brings the total direct supports for parents to $1.8 billion since the beginning of the pandemic. And for this round, as was mentioned, we're doubling the payment amount. That is real and meaningful relief. We're putting more money directly into the hands of parents. Our budget also includes a proposed 20% enhancement to the care tax credit for 2021. This would increase support from $1,250 to $1,500 on average for each family, providing approximately $75 million of additional support for over 300,000 families in Ontario, helping parents with the cost of childcare as they return to the workforce. It's a flexible tax credit that lets families choose the childcare option that best works for them. Parents know what's best for their child's unique needs, so our government is putting money back in their pockets so they can see how to spend as they see fit. So thank you to everyone who's shown their true Ontario spirit this year, including the parents and families who have made so many sacrifices. Healthy people are essential for a healthy economy. As vaccines are rolled out across the province, I always say hope is on the horizon. Until then, our government will maintain our unwavering commitment to protect people's health and our economy. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over to Kathleen Hutton, the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Durham.
Thank you, Minister Bethlen Falvey. On behalf of BGC Durham, I would like to thank Minster Lecce, Minister Bethlen Falvey, and MPP Park for their time this afternoon. We are grateful for the ongoing support of this government and the actions being taken to help parents with financial assistance during these unprecedented and challenging times. Your continued support allows us to provide programming for children, youth, and families in the communities we serve. Now more than ever, children and youth need a safe, supportive place where they can experience new opportunities, overcome barriers, build positive relationships, and develop skills for life. Thank you for helping us to make a difference in the lives of children and youth. I would now like to call upon Minster Lecce to come back to the podium, and we'll open the floor for questions from the media. Thank you.
So we'll go to the floor for questions. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Hi there, John Cook, Durham Radio News. My first question is for Minster Lecce.
Sure.
We know that your goal is to keep schools safe and open. However, the province's top doctor, David Williams, makes that call. What numbers or monitoring indicators should parents be watching, and what information has he told you he bases his information on?
Well, I'll let Dr. Williams, speak for himself in his weekly press conferences, but what I can assure families is that we are monitoring the situation in the province. We're cognizant of rising numbers and as we deal with this third wave and variants of concern. What I can also assure families is just based on the data as it is today. Roughly 98.6% of schools, notwithstanding all the challenges we face in the world and in this country, nearly 99% of schools are open. 99% of students and staff do not have an active case today. 75 to 76% of schools don't have one case at all. Now, I'm not dismissing the difficulty we face. I acknowledge the challenge this province, country, and the globe faces as we deal with these variants of concern. But what I can assure families is that our protocol has got us to this place because, in part, of a robust, comprehensive plan listening to the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Williams, as you noted, as well as due to the incredible work of our frontline educators, our parents who've sacrificed so much in the pandemic, and the kids themselves, who I think have been very resilient, adapting to these new, often tough norms on them. So I think it's been a team effort. We're going to continue to do everything we can to keep schools safe. That's our number one priority as a government.
Okay. And my follow-up is actually for MPP Park.
Sure.
Lindsay, what are you doing to ensure equitable distribution of vaccines here in Durham? We know that supplies are low, but right now Durham's not getting its fair share of vaccines that the province does have.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Any distribution to local public health units is based on supply we get from the federal government. And I can assure you, we have a plan in place that is ensuring the equitable distribution of vaccines across the province, including to Durham region. And these shipments will continue as long as we continue to receive them from the federal government to the local public health unit. More distribution is expected the week of April 5th, and so I hope we receive what we're expecting to receive, and as soon as we receive it, we're getting it out to the local public health units. We're ready to have rotating clinics in North Durham. Durham Public Health has that plan in place, and we hope as we get more AstraZeneca as a province, we can also start to see pharmacies be part of the distribution.
Next question.
Hi, Hi, questions for Minister Lecce. Adrian Gobriel from City TV. Minister, you note the encouraging percentages when we look at schools across the province, though the percentages change when we are in cities like Toronto or when we're in regions like Peel. Right now there's more than 10 schools closed in the city of Toronto. Parents are on edge. They're not sure what to expect. Can you give some kind of timeline on when we might expect an announcement if there's going to be regional closures around the Easter break, after the April break?
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate, Adrian. I think a lot of parents, they want certainty. The pandemic has created an incredible level of disruption in our economy and in our children's lives and for everyday folks. So what I can assure families is that our intention is to proceed with the April break. But we're not going to be reintegrating students back into schools without a heightened level of vigilance on that date. So as I've committed to before, we'll bring forth a plan that will highlight and underscore improved safety measures and access to testing that will reduce any potential case entering into our schools. That is the commitment we're making. We're not resting on our laurels. We are increasing our vigilance and corresponding action to make sure that when a child returns from that break, we can do so with confidence that they are not entering with potential cases, which is why the government and the province, under the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, has brought forth a plan to go to a one-symptom screener, where any one symptom those children have to stay at home. That's a new requirement that's been imposed province-wide, a higher quality mask. Obviously, over the break, schools will be deep cleaned, which is a prudent step upon the re-entrance of schools. So we have a plan in place. It's been fully supported and built in cooperation with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, and our continued commitment is to keep students engaged in learning and safe.
Parents across the city of Toronto received an email from the principals last night asking them if their students are going to need a computer should we pivot back to virtual learning. Can you tell parents in the city of Toronto today with confidence that after the April break, kids will be going back into the classroom?
Our full commitment is to get children back to class following the April break. I mean, look, the pandemic creates a lot of uncertainty that I know is frustrating for so many parents out there who have been incredibly flexible and committed to their kids' safety. But what I want to do in the context of the April break is plan for it, proceed on the basis it is happening, but with a commitment to our parents and the educators themselves, our frontline staff, that we're going to be elevating our infection prevention measures and our testing access for students and staff, because we recognize numbers are rising in the community. Now, we also recognize schools have been safe in this province overwhelmingly, a position not made by politicians, made by the leading health authorities in the country, who continue to believe that they have been safe places, notwithstanding issues that arise, particularly often when cases come from the community into the school themselves, putting them at risk. These rising numbers in our community create challenges for our schools. There's no doubt about that. And that's why we'll be working with the Chief Medical Officer of Health, including later today, to understand what more we can do at a more macro level to reduce these numbers and help support the safety of families, of seniors, and of course kids in Ontario. Thank you.
Hi, Fraser Stone with Golden Goose.
Sure.
So you said that you have a plan in place where you hope to not prolong the break, and that's a good thing, but there's questions around if you're considering pushing the teachers to the front of the line for vaccinations. We see phase 2 rolling out with more people adding to it every day. So is this something that we're considering? Because in the U.S., they're pushing that exact thing.
Yeah, I mean, the United States, they have a plan to get 100 million of their individuals. They've reached that, as I understand, because they, A, produce vaccine, and B, they have access to it. Their national government has clearly a plan in place to get vaccine to the people of their country. We aspire for the same in this country, because in my community, not too far off from Durham, but in York Region, and at Canada's Wonderland, right in the heart of my riding, we had a drive-through vaccination center open. On the day they opened, they had to announce a temporary closure due to a lack of vaccine from the federal government. I think that is totally unacceptable at a time when we know the numbers will rise, and one of the best ways we can protect our population, our economy, and of course our schools is to get these vaccines out, as my colleague Lindsay Park mentioned. So We're working hard to get these vaccines to Ontario. With respect to education staff, yes, they are prioritized in phase 2, which is a good thing. We already see some public health units already starting to vaccinate. Educators, particularly working with special education kids. Niagara, for example, started. That is good. And we're going to continue to work hard to expedite the delivery to those staff because they need, I want them to know that we're fighting hard to make sure that they're safe and they have access to a vaccine in the first place. So they are prioritized. As soon as we get more vaccine, we'll work to get them into the arms of our frontline staff, of course, very much which include our educators, our bus drivers, our ECAs, our EAs, everyone who's working hard to keep kids safe and keep them learning.
Follow up?
That's it.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.